Usually the first part of the offseason for teams for coaching searches, which is the firing. And we're going to start off with two of them. One is a coach, one is an exec. We're going to start off with the coach, which we've been talking about for quite some time now, unfortunately, because just of the situation this team is in. Just today, Suns fired Mike Budenholzer after his first season as head coach, and they will be again dipping their toes into the coaching search for their fourth head coach in 3 or 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Because they fired Monty Williams at the end of the 2023 season. They hired Frank Vogel that offseason. Then they fired Frank Vogel after last season. And then they hired Mike Budenholzer this past offseason and then just fired him now. So they just finished paying Monty Williams this season, I believe, which means at the beginning of next season, they're going to be paying 3 head coaches. And Mike Budenholzer had the 8th highest paid contract this year among coaches.
Yeah.
He's owed, I think 10 mil over the next
He got
4
5
years.
Yeah.
So my guy's going to be making double salary if he gets hired again.
That's crazy. It's like a charity organization. They're just giving away money.
Yeah, bro.
Like donations.
It's just Mat Ishbia. Remember, we've talked about this since we started the show. I've even been talking to him about it before we started the show, that he's just uber aggressive with everything, and it just blows up in his face.
He might win Executive of the Year if he, stays at this pace.
Well, I'm surprised why James Jones doesn't go with him for being GM. I think he's overstayed his time, like the other guy we'll get into after this. But I guess the coaching I guess he just blames the coaching. I mean, I don't think Bud really had anything to work with this team. They didn't really give him much. And a week and a half in, we were like, okay, this team's going to be good. But clearly, we were kind of getting
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, but remember we were saying they were getting hot? You were saying, okay, these Suns really... Yeah, you did.
Never said that. Pull up the receipts.
Yeah, we had
the whole time. I'm like, yeah, they're going to die out. I knew it the whole time.
Right.
Like you, Anthony, I knew it the whole time.
Yeah, you knew from the
that's
beginning.
fine. But yeah, listen, I mean, a lot of their moves just going into the season were, besides Ryan Dunn, were a little interesting. And then we know Katie's getting moved this offseason. We don't know who to. We don't know what for. And that's kind of the gist of it. But I think the consensus for all of us is that Bud definitely got the brunt end of the stick. We kind of saw this coming just because how bad their season went. And
it was terrible.
Now they're looking for another coach. Maybe they go away from the veteran path and hire a rookie head coach because clearly the vets of Monty, Vogel, and Bud clearly were not working.
Yeah, but they're just going to fire. They're just going to fire the rookie coach.
Yeah, I know.
They're on a dangerous path, and we'll put a tweet on the screen right now from BGN. Shout out him. And it was just a list of Mat Ishbia since he took over the Suns from Robert Sarver. He traded for Beal's bad contract with the no trade clause. Wow. He fired Monty Williams, fired Frank Vogel after 1 season, fired Mike Budenholzer after 1 season. He missed the playoffs this season. He has no draft capital because he gave them all away to get Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. And they have no cap space. They have the highest payroll in the NBA this season. So,
historically bad.
Exactly. He's bitten off a lot more than he can chew. You know when you go to a buffet and you're like starving and you bring back like a full plate of food and you only eat like a quarter of it?
Yep.
That's basically what Mat Ishbia has done ever since he, took complete control over the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And they're just an embarrassment. Like they have been there's been like 2 or 3 really disappointing teams this season. They've definitely been one of them. And I really don't know what their plan is from here because you're definitely not getting what you got for KD when you trade him. So you're going to be taking back probably like a first-round pick, maybe 2, depending on James Jones' negotiation skills. Because I mean, I don't really think much of this is his fault necessarily. I think this has been heavily pushed by Mat Ishbia.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Look, if I'm Bud, I'm happy I'm out of there, man.
Oh yeah.
And I'm still getting paid, so it's like, dude,
chilling.
I couldn't ask for anything better.
Get
me out of this crap show, and continue to pay me. I'm all for it.
How does that feel if you're Bud? Because obviously this team is in a complete and total downfall.
Yeah.
You're getting paid by them for not working, and literally 3 years ago you beat them in the finals. That's crazy. He's literally done so much against the Phoenix Suns, both with and without being there.
Yeah, he owns them.
He really does. It's just like Harrison Barnes with the Warriors. He just had a game winner a couple days ago.
He did.
And shot them out of the 2016 series. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, unfortunate for Bud. He'll get another job. I think
Absolutely.
there's definitely spots he can land, like Memphis, New York, presumably if Tibbs gets fired.
Yep.
There's spots that I think he can wind up.
Yeah, or
We'll
if
have to
he's
see.
just hanging up after that, he's up there.
But yeah, let's get into the next news story though.
Yeah. So this is an exec. Quite shocking. I don't really think this was coming from my end, but the Pelicans moved on from David Griffin, Cleveland Cavaliers exec legend. He's no longer the GM for them anymore, and they will start or president of basketball ops, I think, whatever, chief operating officer. He was a lot of.
It's basically the
titles.
same role. It's just different title depending on
Yeah.
what team wants to have what role for what position.
Yeah, but Willie Green stays. So clearly, this is not all on Willie Green, according to Pelicans front office. It's all on David Griffin. So the Pelicans lose Trajan Langdon last year, makes a winner in Detroit in a year. David Griffin makes the Pelicans a loser in a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of
That's how it
the
works
gist
out.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess. So, I guess the guy succeeding him, if he stayed, would have been Langdon probably.
Yeah.
Or
What do you think about the firing, though? Do you think it's justified?
I think he overstayed his time there a little bit. He was there for a long time.
He was there for a year.
A
Literally had the
year?
position for a year.
Griffin?
Trajan Langdon, I thought, was the GM.
No, I think he's in the Pistons.
No.
Oh, he was the
Lang-
assistant. Yeah, but still,
Langdon.
he's been there for a while.
Griffin's been there for a while too.
It's hard because the AD trade was bad, obviously, but he requested out, so there's really nothing you could do about it. The draft capital you got back was not awful. Obviously, you get Zion Williamson.
Right.
You bring in all these guys over the years, and I thought they were a decently run franchise. It's just the problem is the whole roster kept getting hurt every single year, and what do? You panic pivot, and that's when you go trade for DeJounte Murray, and he only played like 20 games or however many he played, and lateral moves like CJ McCollum was just not what you needed.
And then you trade away
Tyson
your guy.
Daniels, yeah. It was
But they still have great players, fallback
do.
options. Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins.
but you still got to pay. You got to pay these guys, and if they're
Yeah.
only going to be healthy for 30 games a year, is it really
the problem.
worth keeping them?
Right.
Yeah.
And we'll throw a tweet on the screen from Shams Charania because right now the Pelicans are in intense talks with Joe Dumars
Yes.
to become the next president of basketball operations. Now
I'm
he's
all
currently
for it.
working for the league office, so he'll leave that job and obviously whatchamacallit, come back there.
I love that.
And I don't know because was he the guy that drafted Darko Milicic in
Joe.
2003?
For Detroit.
I'm pretty sure he was the guy that drafted Darko Milicic
He
over
may have been.
Wade and Carmelo. So
I'll have to check that out.
yeah.
Okay.
But that's kind of a red flag. But I don't think that would be an awful decision. There's definitely worse candidates out there, Calvin Booth.
Yep.
But very interesting kind of, just kind of looking at the scope into it.
Yeah, I'm glad that Willie Green doesn't get the brunt end of it because I don't think it's his fault. The injuries, the real people that should be fired is the whole strength and conditioning team, and all those doctors that diagnose these injuries. That not the doctors, the strength and conditioning because
They're part of it.
They are.
Well, team doctors
Yeah.
don't focus on like strength and conditioning. That's up to the training staff. They'll
Yeah.
determine who's fit to play.
I do think Joe Dumars would be helpful. I think, even though he did draft Darko.
Yeah.
I just looked it up. That was him.
Oh,
But
it was?
he was also there. I'm pretty sure you can fact check me on this. He was there for those Pistons championships
He was.
in
course.
2005,
Yeah.
right? And obviously he played on the Pistons and won a championship himself.
There's something about drafting a bust and then winning a championship because the Warriors did it with James Wiseman.
Yes.
They drafted him, they win a chip the year after.
Right.
The Pistons draft Darko Milicic, they win a chip the year after.
Right.
So who's gonna be like the next like random bust
Yeah.
that leads to a championship?
Cooper Flag.
No,
No.
we
No.
haven't had one in like
Coop.
quite a while actually. For being honest,
Could you imagine Coop
It
was a
it,
bust?
It's got to be James Wiseman, 2020.
Could be Wiseman. That's it. Yeah,
He's the one.
Everything else so far has been okay.
Everyone else has been fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
for a short period of time, we thought it was Scoot, but
Oh yeah,
he's gotten himself back
I don't
up.
know. We'll see about
Scoot's
Scoot.
been fine.
We'll see.
He's been all right.
Yeah, I'm glad.
see about him.
I'm glad he brought up Scoot because that transitions us into the last topic. We're ending it on good news.
Elite segue. Let's go.
Elite segue for Scoot and his team he plays for, the Trailblazers, because their head coach Chauncey Billups just got a multi-year extension to lead that team. Somebody that we were unsure would make it out of the season beginning because of how awful they were, but they quickly turned it around mid-season and finished at a very decent record for their liking. Denny Avdia improved tremendously for them. all their rookies from last year, including Scoot, Tamati Kamara, Klingon, all showed progress for Chauncey this year. And this is just the start for him and his team. And we could see the next coming of maybe the Thunder in a few years.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, to be fair, the Thunder were ass until like 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but I did a little bit of a quick receipt checking. Gio was the one that predicted Chauncey to be the first coach fired.
Ooh,
So
Gio.
there you go, man.
Why we gotta do this?
So
bro?
what? Okay, so from now with this trend, the first coach fired every year, Gio Pick's going to get an extension at the end of
This
the
is
year.
insane.
I just find it crazy how the 3 coaches that were fired this year, like during the season, obviously not counting Bud, were 3 we just wouldn't have expected.
Yeah.
Mike Brown,
No.
Taylor Jenkins, Michael Malone. That's crazy.
No.
Like we expected all 3 of them to just comfortably be in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and good for Chauncey Billups because I know there was a lot of noise about him going back to Denver potentially because the Blazers had a team option on Chauncey Billups, so they determined his fate. They obviously agreed to an extension the way they've been playing. I still don't fully believe in him as a long-term head coach for a championship. He's going to be the guy that kind of leads them as far as they can get.
Right.
And then when you're really ready to, like when Shaedon Sharp's in his prime,
Yeah.
I think because I believe in him a lot. I think he can take
Wow.
a massive leap.
So you think he's that franchise player?
I think he is, yes.
You think
Yeah.
he's that SGA for the Thunder?
But, and I wouldn't say SGA because he plays differently, but like he just
When
needs,
he's healthy.
he needs to just focus more on his body because he gets injured a lot, and this was
Yeah.
his first healthy season.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think they could work with this.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So they need that. So you don't think Chauncey can do it?
no,
So he's kind of like that Mark Jackson transferring, or
think of it.
from
Think
Mark
of it.
Jackson to Steve Kerr for the Warriors.
I wouldn't say that because Mark Jackson's a really good coach. Think of it like in Brooklyn, Kenny Atkinson before Steve Nash, except the Blazers would hopefully hire a better coach than Steve Nash.
Okay.
Just someone that can kind of take you far. Because I think Kenny's a great coach. It's just the problem for me was that like the end of the Brooklyn tenure, his rotations were just beyond me. We were losing games we shouldn't have. Even without KD and Kyrie, we were clawing into the playoffs as the 7 seed rather than being comfortably in.